Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman is under fire from the state's largest police union for how an officer-involved shooting case in Maple Grove was handled. 2 years ago, police responded to a Maple Grove home where they found a man in distress. That man had retrieved a large kitchen knife and started to harm himself. One officer deployed 2 tasers to get him to drop the knife, but was unsuccessful. The man then began walking toward another officer with the knife. That officer fired his gun, injuring the man. A third officer fired another taser, finally getting the man to drop the knife. The man later admitted he was impaired by drugs. The incident did not result in charges against him. But the decision not to prosecute angered Brooklyn Center-based law enforcement Labor Services, the union representing the Maple Grove officers. The union's executive director, GORMLEY, said in a statement to CCX News that somebody needs to explain how a man holding a knife can threaten police officers without any legal repercussions. GORMLEY calls the situation a terrible double standard. He adds that those officers are under intense scrutiny and sometimes face criminal charges for their conduct. A man who threatens officers with a knife should face the same consequences. The Maple Grove officers were honored last month at the City Council meeting. Chief Eric Werner says the 5 officers involved in the incident showed bravery, courage, and selflessness. CCX News reached out to the Hennepin County Attorney's Office for a response. They released a statement saying after a thorough review of the case, prosecutors determined that there was insufficient evidence to file assault charges against the defendant. The case was also sent to Isanti County Attorney's Office for review as well, and that office came to the same conclusion as Hennepin County. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz proclaimed today School Bus Driver Appreciation Day in Minnesota. It also raised awareness about a problem facing many districts. Eric Nelson attended a driver appreciation event in Golden Valley.
This event today served 2 purposes. One was to honor the hardworking school bus drivers across the state of Minnesota. The other was to make a public pitch to recruit more drivers to the profession. The Land of Lakes is experiencing the most significant bus driver shortage in state history.
If you know someone that's interested, encourage them.
Currently, there is a 10 to 15% driver vacancy rate. Whether it's bringing kids to and from school or to and from an athletic event, drivers are wanted.
Our drivers are just like the officials, that are just like our trainers and just like our coaches. They're part of our team and part of our family. And when we've had those days where, well, sorry, we don't have drivers, it's like not having an official. We just say we can't play. We're not going to get in the car and drive over. We're not going to walk to the next school district over. We need drivers.
The school bus industry is the largest form of mass transit in Minnesota. Thousands of drivers bring over 760,000 students to and from class every day. These individuals have a huge impact on the human cargo they transport.
This example speaks volumes.
Jen BOUCHARD, chair of the Hopkins School Board, reflected on a recent hallway walk with a driver.
As we passed by students, they smiled, shouted her name, and gave her high fives. And it was like walking through the hall with a celebrity. Her rock star status is the direct result of her genuine care for these students, for their safety, for their well-being, and for their futures.
Now, in recognition of school bus drivers across Minnesota, the I-35W bridge in Minneapolis on Wednesday night will be lit up in school bus yellow. In Golden Valley, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
A major project kicks off in Robbinsdale this week to help improve the water quality of several lakes by reducing the population of an invasive species of carp.
The amount of carp was too much for the lakes to handle. So carp often are bottom feeders, and they'll stir up the sediment, which creates phosphorus release in the water, also preventing other plants from growing, which decreases other fish's habitat.
The city of Robbinsdale has partnered with the Shingle Creek Watershed Management Commission to improve the water quality of the Twin Lakes chain and nearby Ryan Lake. This week, crews will install a fish barrier off of France Avenue designed to catch the invasive carp and remove them from the water this spring. The goal is to catch roughly 7,000 carp before they have the opportunity to reproduce.
It's never fun to, bring about the demise of an animal, but because these are an introduced species, they are growing way disproportionately to other species.
This is the second year in which they'll use the fish barrier to catch the invasive carp. Any fish they catch will be turned into compost or brought to wildlife rehabilitation centers. Wednesday marked the beginning of Lent for those of the Christian faith. Today, One Maple Grove Church distributed ashes and prayer in drive-through style.
Remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Receive the sign of the cross, Jesus' passion and salvation for you. Amen.
This is the 8th year Maple Grove Lutheran Church has done this. We heard from people who can't get out of the office to attend service, and also from others who lost loved ones and battled breast cancer.
It's surprising how meaningful this connection can be to people. Sometimes they haven't been to church in a while, and it kind of brings them back into that relationship and that connection of faith again.
Nearly a dozen vehicles lined up for the drive-through service, Maple Grove Lutheran's busiest start ever. With the sunshine out, it's feeling less and less like winter. And even though it's still February, people have spring fever and, of course, a hankering for ice cream. The Robbinsdale Dairy Queen is now open for the year. At that store, the manager says he's made it a tradition to open by late February.
You know what, I get a decent amount of people that come through and they like to support. You know, they see that the open sign's open, or the open sign's on, I should say, and they stop through and they show me love.
Always good to see. The average high temperature for this time of year is right above freezing. On this Wednesday, we fell just short of that.
The Maple Grove girls hockey team played in the state tournament last week. The Crimson boys team takes a shot at qualifying for state Thursday night when they face Blaine in the Section 5AA championship. Jay Wilcox has more on the Crimson.
Every team is hoping to be playing their best when it comes to playoff time. And the Maple Grove boys hockey team is answering the call. They've played well lately, including in a semifinal win over Centennial.
We played really well as a team. I think we had really good speed and just good play in all three zones, and we really came together as a team, I think.
Maple Grove is 19-8. They started very strong, but injuries and illness contributed to a few stumbles in the second half of the season. But even a 3-game road losing streak in early February helped this team build.
The timing for when we went up to Grand Rapids was really good, even though our results up there weren't as we were expected. It was just a good team bonding experience. The kids had an opportunity to get together and really become a family. So I was just pleased with that trip, and after that I think things really came together. And
their section final opponent, Blaine, beat the Crimson twice this season. It's a very familiar rival, as both have regularly contended in Section 5AA for a long time.
We've never been able to score against them, but you know what, I think we are going to be ready this time. We've worked on a lot of stuff. We've worked on getting bodies in front of the net, done all that stuff, so I think we're ready for it.
It's a confident group for Maple Grove. Now they have to take care of business Thursday night. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Maple Grove and Blaine play at 7 o'clock Thursday night at Aldrich Arena. The Armstrong-Cooper boys hockey team is in the Section 2A final. The 4-seeded Wings will face 2nd seed Delano. Here's Jason Malillo with more on AC's playoff run.
It's been almost 2 decades since an Armstrong or Cooper boys hockey team played in a section final.
Lots of energy and lots of excitement. It's not something we do. Our program does a whole lot, so we know that we've been working really hard to get here, and we're all really excited to see results happen.
We're getting layers and layers of support throughout the locker room in terms of like, hey, like I got to do my job for you to do your job. You know, we're just we're rolling, we're doing what we're doing, and we're not changing much. It's just it is what it is, and we're just excited and ready to go.
The Wings faced off against a lot of good teams in the regular season and had their ups and downs, but the rigors of the schedule prepared them well for the postseason.
Through those downs, you know, we learned from our mistakes, and we got better and playing our best hockey at the right time.
Still, AC was a bit shell-shocked by the playoff atmosphere, going down 2-1 to Mound West Tonka in the first round.
That was kind of a wake-up call. Like, I think maybe we got the nerves out a little bit and just kind of were taking it all in, but then after that we kind of settled in and played our game.
The Wings beat Mount West Tonka 5-3 and then blanked Orono in the semifinals, earning them a shot at reigning Section 2A champion Delano.
We played them a lot in youth. We were in the same district, and they always have good goalies, and they're really good defensively. So we know we gotta get to the net and get some scrappy goals.
Armstrong-Cooper is on the cusp of the program's first ever state tournament berth and soaking it all in. And AC isn't concerned with the naysayers who might argue the Wings' move to Class A somehow diminishes their playoff run.
I think that we're right where we need to be. If you look at their statistics against competitive teams in the A bracket versus us regular season, they're just high octane end-to-end games. It's a beautiful thing to watch. And the competition amongst the kids, giving them a chance to win, putting them in an environment to succeed, is teaching them lifelong lessons. So I guess I really don't care who has to say what. We believe in ourselves and we know what we're trying to do here at Armstrong-Cooper.
Jason Malillo, CCX Sports.
The Wings meet Delano Thursday night at 7 o'clock at the St. Louis Park Rec Center. You can see tape-delayed coverage of the game Thursday at 10 p.m. here on CCX.